It's here. All right, here it is. Finished welded. It's all square, the top's straight, everything's right. Might put some gussets on the inside. Oh, let's see. Like here and here. Haven't decided. Probably doesn't need it. Sweet. Now it's time for probably to put the transmission together while I wait for the rest of the parts. All right, we'll see. Transmission parts. Let's be honest, I have no idea how to do this at all. I did find a guide, 6x6 parts, has manuals and stuff that you can download. The one that I downloaded, it is a little hard to read. You know, it's like a photocopy of a photocopy that got scanned kind of thing, but it's brilliant they put all that on there for us. So I'm assuming that these Allen ones are probably to hold the housing together. Assuming that this side should match essentially this side that didn't get taken apart. And that this is the shaft that comes out that other side, just like that one. So I think between the two, at least I'd get some idea where things go. But you know, with all transmissions, you guys know this, it's really about tolerances and shimming and that kind of stuff. Wish me luck. Hi, welcome back. Good morning. Today's an interesting day for sure. While I'm waiting for some parts in the frame section, I've decided to tackle the T20 transmission. I watched some videos. There's a very good video. Who was the guy? Dave? Dave's here today to help me. He's kind of just point and help. Dave's a master Chevy mechanic. He was an airline mechanic for a long time. Then he got on the fire department and we rode in the back together. He was my paramedic. So yeah, we spent a lot of time together and he's very good with this type of thing. He's going to help me and we're going to try to make sure I don't do anything wrong. If you see that I'm doing something wrong, please comment back to me, and it's never too late to take it back apart if I need to. Let me introduce Dave.
Hey, I'm Dave. How are you?
So we thought we'd start with just, well, is that fan bothering you guys? Let me turn it. I thought I'd start by going through some parts as I understand them, and Dave will try to correct me. So let me flip around the camera and we'll go from there. All right, we're back. Again, there's a great video by Maximum Off-Road in Missouri. And that by far was the most helpful. He does a really, really good, straightforward job. So if Dave, have any success, it's really due to that really good video. But I thought I would go by explaining just some parts first. So these things are called bands. They're what grab hold of this to make it go right or left. And there's a right hand side to all this. There's a right hand side to this and a left hand side to this. So it seems like the right hand side has the clutch assembly shaft, the main shaft, and that's soaking right now. So here's the right side case, and you can tell because it's going to be the one that has the tag on it. Okay. This seal hasn't been replaced, but we have a new one, and I don't know if you can see it, but somebody had actually siliconed here, and before we cleaned it, they had siliconed all around here where these O-rings should be. So it probably was leaking really, really bad, but I think I'm really lucky because all the gears look really, really nice. So let's see, we have the planetary gear set comprises of these pieces with, these are the planetary gears that'll sit like that. This little one's called a sun gear. And I keep telling Dave that if it was the 15th century, it'd be the earth gear because everything revolves around the earth. But now it revolves around the sun. So they're sun gears.
That was a good one.
Yeah, thank you. That's a C-clip, right? And then this is one of those washers that goes under the C-clip or with the C-clip. And it has, you'll know because it has that little indent. Now there are right-hand springs, or sorry, bands, and left-hand bands. And oftentimes they get together and fight in the battle of the bands. Bottom. These are bearings. These are the thrust washers that everyone talks about. You'll need to get a new seal and thrust washer kit. I was lucky, the guy that had this before me actually bought that kit and assembled part of it. And then, so I still have some really good thrust washers and everything, but we're going to take it all the way apart again because there's like moths and debris in there. So we're going to do this one side and hopefully we get it right, and we'll do the left-hand side next. Hopefully by then we'll have it down. So there's the output shaft, and that's a chingadera gear. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure it out.
I believe that's your shift lever gear.
Yeah, so the
Shift lever engages into that.
This little knob on these, this is the shifter. Maybe sits in that groove, is that right? To go in and out, is that how that works?
Yes, so this sits in the groove, and as you shift, it rotates on this eccentric and it pulls it in or it pulls it out.
And so that's what makes it go. And on the video from Maximum, if this is damaged, this pin, you need to replace it. Just order a new one. If it has a big groove in it, you need to replace it. And don't forget about the O-rings. All right. As per directions, we need to start with putting in the outer seal. You'll notice that this bearing is already in there. I'm not going to remove it. It seems okay, and then it has this retaining clip. So I'm sure it's just pressed in. You put in the retaining clip, it springs in a groove. Now this outer seal, we get it as flat and as straight as we can in the bore. Get it started. I didn't find a 2x4. What else could we use? Let me look again. Stand by. Okay, found a board. Put it flat. Get your hammer. Little high right there.
You can just tap it in with the hammer to get it just exactly right.
You know, your hand or your fingers can actually detect something, a bump or a ridge like the size of a hair. It's amazing. Like for body work and stuff. Did you know that?
It's quite interesting.
Did you know it? Of course you did. Shut up, Dave. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. And if you saw, Dave lubricated all the ends and seals, so as it went in, it had some lubrication. The rubber ring on the outside has some lubrication, so when we start to put everything together, it'll slide easy and we won't have anything bind. Sorry for the weird perspective. That's the best I could do. Okay, now what?
It is a wet transmission, so it's not a bad idea to just have a little tub of ATF and just put a little bit on everything you put together.
So we probably need to put in the output shaft. Does that sound right?
That is correct.
we were able to just kind of square this up in the hole, and I pushed it with the palm of my hand and it got most of the way in. Then we just took a small hammer, maybe even like a rubber mallet would work, and just tapped it until it went to the groove. There was a wear mark where the old seal was. You need to make sure it's in at least that far. Flip the case over. You want that big clip, and if yours is one of the really old ones, apparently they don't have these little ears on them, and they're really hard to get out. So just make sure you have at least the one with the ears on. Notice that in other people's videos that this just is in, right? And they say, and then just drop that clip on, click, and then they go to it being done. Because getting that C-clip with the little ears on there is a little bit harder than you can imagine, especially if you're using, you know, I have just, a lot of my tools I don't use very often, so I've got really junky ones. Dave actually filed this one down to get it to spread wide enough to get it over the collar. So if you're struggling with that, it's okay. We struggled too.
Or if anybody from Snap-on wants to send a nice pair of snap ring pliers
to me,
we could be sponsored.
For all the tens of people watching, if you would pass that on. Okay, so now it goes on the shift collar, and the spring inside, I guess it's called a detent collar. It doesn't go this way, gears up, right? You just want to get that spring around this shaft. So we drop it in. You can use your finger and just feel around. That doesn't sound right, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Did you put some transmission?
Well, it had some WD on it. But
Let's put some transmission fluid on here. We'll get it lubed up. It never hurts to really...
Careful.
It never hurts to...
Go ahead. You got to say it now.
Make it work.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Oliver, who sponsored our last video, might be watching.
Maybe.
He didn't sponsor our last video, he guest hosted it.
That's correct.
Shout out to Oliver.
There we go. I had to use that little bit of screwdriver. I'm sure if you did this all the time, you could just throw it in there. And then it seats and it won't come back out. Perfect. Then the next step is this shaft, the output shaft and clutch. And
I'm going to call it the input shaft.
I'm going to put it the output because it goes to the outside.
It comes from the engine and goes into the transmission. Input shaft.
Nah. Call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it the clutch side, the right side. Okay, we got a little ATF on there, otherwise Dave will yell at me. He yells a lot.
A lot.
A lot. All right. We'll just throw this on.
Too easy. Let's do it again.
If Dave was doing this, if this was the Dave show, he would have done this like 50 times. And I was just like, let's just show the mistakes. Hold on, my wife's calling me. Okay, I'm back. The dog scooper, poop scooper was here. I needed to know that. Anyway, we'll get back to this. And I love my wife, by the way. Okay. All right. So the band thing, the whole right-left bands and the twist, and was really messing with my head. So, okay, here's what we learned about the bands. So, these were confusing me, like what's a right hand, what's a left hand, whatever. But I think they're essentially the same. It's just how they go in. You need to make sure that one is anchored at the bottom and goes in the appropriate hole, and one then goes in the upper hole and then gets anchored on the top. So you kind of work it in there, and then this will get wrapped around and placed in the hole. Actually, I have a bolt for this, Dave, just to aid. So it's like a 3/8 fine thread. And if we can at least get it started, then, actually that's not all the way down. That's part of my problem, right? Yeah.
Is there a chance these bands go in before this gear?
Well, I don't want to say, Dave. because I know this because I just did this mistake. The band has to, oh, no, you own your own mistakes. So I tried to push the plunger through on the other set and it hits that gear. That's why the gear goes in next. The band goes in first. Now we gotta undo it. But that's, what do I say? That's how we learn. You're gonna probably do everything 5 times. We've done it a couple times for sure. Okay, so I am undoing what I did. If I can get it out. Come on. Okay. Okay, let's put in that lower band.
I'll hold this up.
Okay. So then we just need to make sure it's not stacking on top of each other. We push it down and then put it through the hole. Is close?
And I think the thing to mention too is there's 2 slots with O-rings on this keeper. And the bevel is on the outside of the case. So we have to pull the plunger all the way through, put the O-rings on it, and then seat them. If you try and put the O-rings on and push them through, they will get cut and this case will leak.
Okay. And this is a 3/8 fine thread bolt. That's what I used to get it through. It was just easier for me. If you're experienced with this, you probably don't need it. And then I'm just using the case to hold it out for now. I don't want to put these on yet. I'm so worried that I'm going to scrape these, because if these go on the inside and pulled through, but maybe you're right that I do have to put the pin in afterwards, because I don't see how I'm supposed to get that gear in there. But
I would do it afterwards.
But then how do I get the tension on it? How do I?
Put the pin in it and then just pull it around and drop it in the hole.
Okay, let's try that. Otherwise, it's just not, it doesn't look loose enough. You guys have probably struggled with this too. Okay.
Hopefully we're fast forwarding through this part.
Washer, right? Thrust washer.
Maybe rotate it just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay,
Very nice.
very nice. I hope. Now do I bring the pin around, or does the next planetary pieces go in and then the next band? Okay. This is taking us way longer than it should, but neither one of us have done this, and we just keep getting ahead of ourselves because I'm trying to film and anyway. So I missed a step. I dropped this in and I've taken it out like 4 times. This horseshoe or C-clip, right, goes on this shaft. You'll see a little indentation. I might need a tool for that.
A pair of pliers or something, just squeeze it.
Let me get some pliers. Needle nose or something?
Sure.
Did you get it in?
No, but it is lined up.
Okay.
It clips in.
Clipped in. Okay. So that piece, then one of the 2 sun gears goes on and should rest on top of that C-clamp. Good. Okay. Now the first drum. You'll notice we already have both bands in now. That lower one is kind of hard to get in a good position. It was for me anyway. So I took this 3/8 fine thread. I don't know if I mentioned that already, to kind of help orient it. If you've done this a bunch of times, you probably don't need it. Drum, thrush washer in, and we just have to get past the bands, and it should just pop right in. It's that lower one I'm not sure about, but
Line it up with the gear. Yeah, but am I free of that lower band? Can't see. No. I don't even want to touch the band with metal. Should be this. This one, if you need it. It's riding right on top of that lower band. So,
yes, I didn't want to start with that on the other side of the case, because then it's a problem to get through, but maybe you have to have enough slack. Or should I try to push this?
I'm trying to push the lower bands from the outside so I don't get the actual band material in jeopardy. And it should just drop right in.
Okay. Yeah, all the way.
Very good.
Okay, looks good. And so what, the problem I have with the lowest band is that there's these two kind of chunks of metal in here, and I had put the bottom anchor point past this bump so I didn't have to try to wrestle it around. I was afraid of bending all the stuff. So if you can get to that point, hopefully that'll help me in a second. I don't know. But now comes the sun gear, or the planetary gears. Does that sound right, Dave?
Yes.
And do they get a thrust washer on each side?
I believe that the newer models have a thrust washer on each side. The older models only have a thrust washer on one side.
Okay, now do I have enough thrust washers that might be in that pile, Dave? There's a thrust washer, really thick one, that goes in next. And it sits in that groove in the middle. You'll see it. Then you put the thrust washers on top of the second drum. You place the planetary gears on. I had a third one. There it is. And then this gets a thrust washer on this side too. So there, goes on top. Now here's the part that might be a little tricky, right, Dave? Because I have to put this plate in, and they're angled. There's a groove on this side, right, Dave? And then it's really flat on one side.
Yes.
The rounded part goes in first, so down. Otherwise, it won't shift, or won't shift right.
It'll just be difficult to shift because that bevel helps engage the shifter.
So, but does it make any sense to put this on there to hold it? Probably. I like that. Do you like that?
Okay.
And then we're going to tip this case over.
And the only thing we're trying not to do is displace this thrust washer. Or my fingers.
Well, your fingers will heal. These parts. No bueno. No bueno.
gear in the end. Thrust washer, thrust plate. Bevel. Wish that had sat in the shifter thing. Is there a way to push it up to hold that? Just like it's tilted over just a little bit further. Can you tilt it up just a little bit more? Alright, the bad part is I don't have a shoulder to support this. Oh, that's right, you're broken. I can't reach in on that. Okay, hold on, stand by everybody. Let's not get crazy here. Maybe if I can get that plate straight. Okay, so we just lost the thrust washer. There's the thrust washer, okay. But the other two.
Oh, I like that. We were a tooth off.
So that doesn't look right. Oh, that's a big thruster.
Yes.
Nope. Nope, I'm off. I'm off. Because those two should be right, correct?
These two are good.
Shouldn't mess with it, but I thought that looks better. Okay.
Does that just slide down now? Is there a thruster on the bottom of this?
Thrust washers, all three.
Give it just a jiggle.
This has got to go in that plate. And mesh with these gears. Maybe. Maybe the band is holding it. No. Does it get a smack?
No.
Feels like you should smack it.
No.
You should, like with a big hammer.
Definitely not.
Definitely. Shot peen, whoosh, brass hammer. Whoosh.
All right.
Yeah, because this has to go down more. You have to whack it to get it in the holes of the plate.
Mm-mm.
Let's just try whacking it.
Mm-mm. Really? Were you holding it the whole time?
No, I was not. Just fell in.
Yeah. Just fell in.
It did. It did. See?
I say we're good.
See? Sometimes you should just hit things with the hammer. If you'd let me, it would have done that earlier. Maybe not. That's probably not the right way to do it. Maybe if that works for you or this works for you, whatever. This was definitely easier for us. I was really struggling. Okay, no idea what's next. This pin that holds the bands. I've been dreading this quite a little bit. So I'm going to try to grab the little band.
Lower bands is one on top of the other. I thought about that. Possibly, maybe. We can pull them up. Well, sure, be that tight. Sounds reasonable. So we bring these top bands up just to get them out of the way. Okay. Now you want to work on that lower band? Sure.
Let's see if, yeah. I think they are nested like a Russian doll. Got it.
That goes in.
Then the
sleeve.
spacer sleeve. Nice. Okay, then
And
the
this
top
top
band.
band.
And that should be considerably easier. Just don't displace the gear set. And make sure that they don't wrap on top of each other. We just learned that.
They are nested
Like Russian dolls?
just like them.
You mean appropriately or, oh, there it went.
There you go.
And then,
Bands are on.
you know what, I'd feel down there and make sure everything's where it should be. You probably shouldn't have to worry, but I'm gonna worry anyway. Okay. Does that mean that's half done?
Half done.
That's we are done. Half.
Same thing on the other side. Just
You know.
like
50%,
do some editing.
100% of the time. Bling. Okay,
Why is it not?
because
together?
I don't know how to do any of that.
Oh,
But look at this, it spins.
very nice.
Next half?
Yes.
Maybe this will be easier. So first the bands, correct? Yes, RJ. Those bands look right. So these holes are, so that's the low hole.
Okay.
So this would go like that. I think this upper one is on the wrong end of the stick. Engaged. Good girl, T. Come here, TT. T.
No.
Are we almost there? Remember, I had to mess with that band and then push it down. Remember? Those look pretty close.
like it.
The confidence in that plate. Yeah.
That's it for the day.
What about these? All these extra parts we have. Like, you and I have got extra bearings. And extra. We're gonna just ignore all the extra parts. Like I said, this
Is one of the problems with getting a basket case.
basket case. There were redundant things.
This whole thing was taken apart, and I think new parts were bought, and some of the old parts remained. And
You know. But if not, I'm sure you'll tell me. So feel free to
after
comment.
you subscribe,
Like, subscribe,
And comment down below.
share if we miss something. So we have the gasket on the housing over there, the center plate. We really just need to put this together. I don't know if I have it in me. Should we try? Because they're so goofy. Hey, if you've liked anything we've done today, and I hope you do, I'm sorry the angles are funny and it's probably a lot of choppiness in this, but if you do like it, I'd appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and share. Anyway, we'll see you on the flip side.